Good morning to all. Today we are going to discuss about homeostasis. What is homeostasis and what are the things which we are going to discuss in today's class. So, glossary about the homeostasis. Maintain, keep up, constant, the same, internal, inside the body, environment, surroundings of the body. So these are the things which we are going to discuss in this today's class. So what is homeostasis? Body cell work best if they have the correct. Body cells work best if they have the correct. If the cells are in correct condition, then they will work properly. So, what are the factors which influence the cells? Means temperature, water levels, and glucose concentration. These are the things which showing impact on the body cells. So, body has maintains to keep the cells in a constant environment. What is homeostasis? The maintenance of a constant environment in the body is called homeostasis. What is homeostasis actually means? The maintenance of a constant environment in the body is called homeostasis. Controlling body temperature. So all mammals maintain a constant body temperature. As we all know that the mammals maintain a constant body temperature. Human beings have a body temperature of about 37 degrees centigrade. Example, if your body is in a hot environment, your body temperature is 37 degrees centigrade only. If your body is in a cold environment, your body temperature is still 37 degrees centigrade, which means the body is maintaining the constant temperature. It means something is regulating the body temperature inside the cells. So, if the environmental temperature is more than 37 degrees centigrade or less than 37 degrees, also it is maintaining the same standard body temperature, that is 37 degrees centigrade. Now coming to what mechanisms are there to cool the body down. One is sweating. When your body is hot, sweat glands are stimulated to release sweat. The liquid sweat turns into a gas. It evaporates. To do this, it needs heat. It gets that heat from your skin. As your skin loses heat, it cools down. So, how the mechanism happening during high temperature? You can see, observe the things here. When your body is hot, sweat glands stimulates. When sweat glands stimulates, they can release the sweat. That sweat runs into a gas. Why? Because there is a high temperature outside, so that sweat turns into gas, that is evaporates. To do this, it needs heat. It gets that heat from your skin. As your skin loses heat, it cools down. So this is the mechanism that is regulating the body temperature constantly. Now coming to sweating. The skin, this is the uh, sweat evaporates. The skin stimulates and releases sweat. That sweat has to evaporates into gaseous form in the presence of heat to maintain body temperature constantly. Now coming to what mechanisms are there to cool the body down. Vasodilation. Sweat is one thing and other thing is that vasodilation. What is vasodilation? Your blood carries most of the heat energy around your body. Blood carries most of the heat energy around your body. There are capillaries underneath your skin that can be filled with blood if you get too hot. This brings the blood closer to the surface of the skin so more heat can be lost. This is why you look you look red when you are hot. See how the mechanisms are happening inside the body. This means more heat is lost from the surface of the skin. More heat is lost from the surface of the skin. If the temperature rises, the blood vessels dilates, gets bigger. And what mechanisms are there to warm the body up? So vasoconstriction. This is the opposite of vasodilation. The capillaries underneath your skin get constricted, shut off. This takes the blood away from the surface of the skin. So less heat can be lost. So this is called vasoconstriction. During vasoconstriction, what happens? Blood capillaries will get constricted and the blood away from the surface of the skin so that less heat can be lost. This means less heat is lost from the surface of the skin. If the temperature falls, the blood vessels constricts, get shut off. Now coming to piloerection. Piloerection. What does it mean? What mechanisms are there to warm the body up? Another thing is piloerection. This is when the hairs on your skin stand up. It is sometimes called goosebumps or chicken skin. The hairs trap a layer of air next to the skin, which is then warmed by the body heat. The air becomes an insulating layer. So, this is all about piloerection. During piloerection, what happens? Hair on your skin stand up. This is called goosebumps or chicken skin. The hairs trap a layer of air next to the skin, which is then warmed by the body heat. The air becomes an insulating layer. This is about the hair, how the hair is standing up. Now coming to controlling glucose levels. How the glucose levels are controlled in our body. Your cells also need an exact level of glucose in the blood. Excess glucose gets turned into glycogen in the liver. This is regulated by two hormones or chemicals from the pancreas called insulin and glucagon. So how the glucose levels are controlling in our blood means there are two hormones which are secreted by the pancreas. They are insulin and glucagon. They are regulating the glucose levels in our blood. So when the glucose levels are raised in our cells, then it can be converted into glycogen and stored in the liver. Whenever the body needs energy, then that glycogen again converted into glucose to uh, converted again into the energy, that is ATP. Now coming to see, this is about glucose in the blood. These are the blue color particles. They are glucose molecules which are running in the blood circulation. If there is too much glucose in the blood, insulin converts some of it to glycogen. When the glucose levels are raised in the blood, then the insulin converts that glucose into the glycogen and stored in liver. So glycogen is nothing but a polysaccharide molecule. Glucose is a single molecule or monosaccharide. This is about polysaccharide that can be stored in the form of polysaccharide, that is glycogen. That is excess glucose, right? Now coming to glucose in the blood. If there is not enough glucose in the blood, if there is not enough glucose in the blood, glycogen converts, glucagon converts some glycogen into glucose. You can see the glucagon role here. If there is a less amount of glucose in the blood, then the glucagon uh, comes into picture to play a role in converting glycogen into glucose. So that is the role of glucagon. Glycogen, whenever there is a need of glucose in the blood, then the stored glycogen can be converted into glucose by glucagon. Now coming to diabetes. Some people do not produce enough insulin. When they eat food, the glucose levels in their blood cannot be reduced. Some people do not produce enough insulin. When they eat food, the glucose levels in their blood cannot be reduced. This condition is known as diabetes. Diabetics sometimes have to inject insulin into their blood. They have to be careful of their diet. So the insulin, the if the insulin is not working properly, means that can lead to cause diabetes. The function of insulin is to regulate the glucose levels in the blood. If insulin functions well, the glucose levels will be maintained properly in the blood. If the insulin is not producing sufficiently from the pancreas, then it can lead to cause diabetes. So diabetic patients sometimes they need to inject insulin into their blood to maintain the glucose levels in their blood. So they need to be careful about their diet also. This is about glucose concentration and meal eaten and time. So glucose levels rise after a meal. Glucose levels rise after a meal and insulin is produced and glucose levels fall to normal again. So this is the normal functioning of the glucose concentration, and that can be regulated by the insulin at a normal condition. If glucose concentration or glucose levels rise after a meal, if insulin is not produced, so glucose levels stay high, that can lead to cause diabetes. Now coming to glucose in the blood. Here you can see the glucose levels are much in blood, dangerous levels. If the glucose levels are like this in the blood circulation, that is very dangerous. The glucose dangerous levels leads to cause diabetes. Controlling water levels. The control of water levels is carried out by the kidneys. Control of water levels is carried out by the kidneys. It is closely linked to the excretion of urea. Urea is a waste product that is made when the liver breaks down proteins that are not needed by the body. Urea contains the element nitrogen. So control water levels. How the water levels are controlled in our body. The control of water levels is carried out by the kidneys. it is closely linked to the excretion of urea. Urea is a waste product that is made when the liver breaks down proteins that are not needed for the body. Urea contains the element nitrogen. Sorry. So water levels, finally I can say that water levels are controlled by kidneys. The kidneys clean the blood of waste products and control how much water is kept in the body. The waste products and water make up urine, which is excreted via the ureter. So the kidneys function in both ways. It has to eliminate the waste products from the blood and to retain water in the body. So these are the two functions which can be done by the kidneys. And dirty blood enters the kidney through the renal artery. Then several things happen to clean the blood. So in the kidney there is a filtration method. That method can be filter all the waste materials and clean the blood. So this is about kidneys. Now coming to filtration. Blood enters the tubule area in a capillary. See, this is about kidney tube. This is a blood capillary. Blood enters the tubule area in a capillary. The capillary forms a small knot near the kidney tubule. Okay, here you can see the knot near the kidney tubule. The blood is filtered, so all the small particles go into the tubule. Here the blood can be filtered and all the small particles can be entered into the tubule. The capillary then carries on to run next to the tubule. So this is about the functioning of the filtration. So whatever the uh, waste products which are present in blood capillary, that can be filtered over here, the kidney tubule. There is a filtration center that can be filter the uh, blood or clean the blood. The waste products can be entered into this tube. So this is about filtration. Again, the coming to kidney tube. The kidney tubule now contains lots of blood components, including glucose, ions, water, and urea. So the kidney tubules contains lot of blood components, including glucose. Blood contains glucose, ions like calcium, potassium, etc., water molecules, and also urea. Urea is a excretory product of mammals. So all these things can be present in the blood. So that has to be filtered in the kidneys and eliminated from the body to maintain the normal functions of the body. Now coming to reabsorb sugar. The body needs to have sugar in the blood for cells to use in respiration. So all the sugar is reabsorbed back into the capillary. So what happens? Reabsorb sugar. The body needs to have sugar in the blood for cells to use in respiration. So sugar is needed for blood to respiration. So all the sugar is reabsorbed back into the capillary. The body needs to, okay, next, reabsorb ions. Water and ions are the next to be absorbed. Water and ions are the next to be absorbed. It depends on how much is needed by the body. So how much water is needed and how much ions are needed for our body, depending upon the body cells can reabsorb the water and ions to regulate body functioning. Okay. and reabsorbing water. If you have too little water in your blood, you will produce very concentrated urine. If you have very little water in your blood means you will produce very concentrated urine. Very little water in it equal to dark yellow. Very little water in it equal to dark yellow. If you have too much water in your blood, you will produce very dilute urine. Lots of water in it, that is equal to light yellow. So reabsorbing water is depending upon the situation, right? Now coming to here, what it says, if there is a less water in your blood, that can lead to produce concentrate, that can lead to eliminate concentrated urine, that is in yellow color. And if the water much water is present in your blood means the urine color will be light yellow, means that urine will be diluted. So excrete the waste. Everything that is left in the kidney tubule is waste. Everything that is left in the kidney tubule is waste. All the urea and excess water. All the urea is waste and excess water is also comes under waste. This waste is called urine. The excess water, the waste or excess water is called urine. It is excreted via the ureter and is stored in the bladder. Before going to excrete, the urine can be stored in the urinary bladder. Renal vein. This is about a renal vein. It carries all those things, ions, water molecules and urea molecules and glucose to the kidney tubule. The clean blood leaves the kidney in the renal vein. The clean blood leaves the kidney in the renal vein. Now, summary of urine production. How the urine is produced in our body. Urea is a waste product made in the liver. Urea is a waste product that can be made in the liver by breakdown of protein molecules. Water content of the body is controlled in the kidneys. So water content can be controlled by the kidneys. Urea, water and other waste makes up urine. So urea and water and other waste products make up the urine. Urine travels down the ureter and is stored in the urinary bladder. Urine is excreted through the urethra. So when the bladder is full, the urine can be excreted through the urethra. Now coming to references. So these are the references which we have used for our PPT presentation video, preparation of video lecture. Thank you. Thank you so much.